Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome to one of America's most popular dirt tracks, this flat half mile in Knoxville, Iowa, known as Knoxville Raceway. BRP iRacing Series making its second stop here of the season with two main ways to get around this racetrack. The first of which is to stay to the low side. The grip will stay younger down here throughout the course of the night, and anybody who brings a small block is going to want to stay down there to make the length of the track shorter, give them an advantage in that way. Anybody else with the big blocks, and throughout the majority of the night, you'll see people moving to the top side of the racetrack. This is a great way to keep it pinned, keep the throttle up, keep the momentum up, which is oh so important in a big car like a dirt modified. 60 laps on the docket tonight for the second time this season from this racetrack. The experience will pay off, but new setups from iRacing might make things a little different. So the curveball's there, and that's your walk around Knoxville Raceway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome to one of America's most popular dirt tracks, this flat half mile in Knoxville, Iowa, known as Knoxville Raceway. BRP iRacing Series making its second stop here of the season with two main ways to get around this racetrack. The first of which is to stay to the low side. The grip will stay younger down here throughout the course of the night, and anybody who brings a small block is going to want to stay down there to make the length of the track shorter, give them an advantage in that way. Anybody else with the big blocks, and throughout the majority of the night, you'll see people moving to the top side of the racetrack. This is a great way to keep it pinned, keep the throttle up, keep the momentum up, which is also important in a big car like a dirt modified. 60 laps on the docket tonight for the second time this season from this racetrack. The experience will pay off, but new setups from iRacing might make things a little different. So the curveball's there, and that's your walk around Knoxville Raceway. This is the anti-penultimate. There's only 3 chances for these drivers to rifle off more wins and points as the season winds down to the end. Tonight, the stars and cars of the BRP iRacing Series take on their second trip to this beautiful half mile in the heartland of Iowa. We welcome you to BRPtv live for the BRPtv 60 from Knoxville Raceway. I'm Joe Donahue, back alongside Jonathan Howe to bring it to you. And Jonathan, duty calls sometimes. Unfortunately, I was unable to join you at Fairbury, where we saw a great race to the end, a fair fight, really classy racing from the whole field. Tyler Pachalski takes his first win of the season. I'm very pleased to be back at the track with you, though. These drivers are dealing with the new physics from a recent update in this simulator. Does the familiarity of this track edge it out, or does the new way these cars handle wipe the slate for these teams in this race tonight?
Thanks, Joe. I think this has got to be a clean slate. Like I think we've seen pretty much every time we've gone back to a track in this series for the second time, we've gotten a different race. And I think tonight will be much the same. I think what we saw earlier in the year, take that, maybe keep it in the back of your mind in case there's some repeat things. But for the most part, I think you're going to be just kind of taking this and it's going to be something new on the board.
Definitely should be that way tonight. Things are going to be a little bit different than the last time we came here, and that might pay into the favor of our new points leader, Cody Higbee, who over the course of the run last week was able to put together enough points to take back the championship leader. Actually, I believe it's the first time he's led the championship so far this season over Ryan Beagle, who now sits 6 points behind him in second. And then from there, the drop's pretty steep back to Isley and Porter, who have a nice little battle going on for third in the championship. DeRitter, Reynolds, Sharp, Josh Abowski, Slight, Meitzler. That's the top 10 of eligible drivers in the championship hunt. And Jonathan, there's a couple other guys in the mix. Dean Reynolds hasn't solidified all of the small block races he has to do this season, but everybody else in the top 10 has. So I guess it's fair game.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on that small block counter, but I think at the same time, the most interesting thing has to be this battle that we've got at the top of the standings. Higbee, Beagle, they're done. They've got their small blocks all taken care of. Isley not far away and had some speed last week. Probably, I don't want to say it was a coulda, woulda, shoulda, but definitely could have been one or two places higher in that finishing order. Jamie Porter right there, Matt DeRitter right there. It can get tight over these final three races, but the main battle is going to be Higbee versus Beagle. And Beagle didn't have a bad week necessarily last week, but Higbee was almost perfect, or as at least perfect as you can be in a points battle. That is super, super important, and we'll see. I don't think it's over yet, but I think it's going to be very hard to get back by Cody Higbee in the point standings.
Yeah, Higbee's been so strong as of late. And I mean, we've talked a lot of the way through this season, Jonathan, about Brandon Plank being really fast, but Ryan Beagle being really consistent. And Plank's got a lot of wins. He's fastest right now in practice. Ryan Beagle was always consistent, and Higbee was always good for a couple podiums in a row, but then he'd have a week where it wasn't quite as good. And he didn't start the season off well at all, to be completely fair to him. He's picked it up. Beagle's been consistent, but maybe that consistency, when you compare to the guy in the number 97 car who's got 2 wins, Beagle's got his win, but at some point, consistency doesn't really reign, I think it's fair to say. It depends on the scoring structure, and in this series, I think it does pay a little bit better to get those extra spots at the front at the end of the race, to get a little bit more of an advantage points-wise from first to second compared to, say, 6th to 7th. So it seems like it's kind of worked back into the favor of Higbee just because he's able to get those really big numbers on a couple nights, throughout the course of a few.
Yeah, and Joey, that's a good point because I'm looking at kind of the advanced analytics that we've got behind the scenes here in terms of looking at the points. I'm looking at Cody Higbee. 8 times he has been fastest in qualifying. He's got 2 of the fastest laps, and he's led the most laps in 4 races this season. Looking over the heat points, he's got 16 for first compared to Ryan Beagle's 8. So right there alone, those early in the night points, the points that are available for heat position, points available for fastest lap, fastest qualifying, those are the big areas of difference right now between Cody Higbee and Ryan Beagle. And while it's not a massive point difference, 6 points, if Beagle loses this championship by less than 8 points, he's going to be able to point to the fact that, Cody Higbee did a great job of making sure he started up front in his heats and finished there.
Yeah, and those bonus points from being the fastest qualifier, having the fastest lap in the race, and leading the most laps in a race, if you take those out of the equation, Ryan Beagle's got this championship by, I think, 12 points or so. So those are crucial when we talk about the championship hunt we have now. And we've been talking about that all year, too, because the difference in points between 2 positions at the end of the feature, it's only, 2 points if you're in the top 5 or 1 point throughout the rest of the field. But you can get a heat race win and knock out 4 points, and if your competitor gets 2 points or doesn't get any points at all, You know, if you finished 3 positions behind someone in the feature that you got 4 points in the heat race and they didn't get any, you're still coming out of that night with a net gain. So that's really been paying into the favor, and I think that paid into the favor of Ryan Beagle at a point in this season, but it's definitely coming back into the swing of Cody Higbee, and that's, I think, where the big difference has been. If we come down to the end of this season and Higbee's got it, I think that's the point. That's the point you make. That's where it came from.
Yeah, 100%. Like, looking over Ryan Beagle's stat line here, especially in the bonus column, he's only had the fastest qualifying time twice. He's only led the most laps twice, which still very good thing to do in a series as diverse and as many talented drivers we have in this iRacing simulator league. Like, it's impressive what he's been able to do, but there's a big old 0 column in that fast lap column, and that's a problem. And, you know, looking at Cody Higbee, heat points, 16 first, 21 second, 4 points, 4 times third, and 1 point he's earned for finishing 4th at one time this season. And Beagle, 8, 3, 8, and 4. There's a big difference there, and it's all in the bonus points. So while beating your competition in the feature is important, I personally love the fact that we are giving these drivers a motivation, or not even necessarily the motivation, but we're giving these drivers a way to collect points and reward consistency through an entire night and then through an entire championship. And that's really what's made, I think, this series as close as it's been, because you can have an off night where you finish 9th, 8th position. But if you had a good heat race and you had a good qualifying time and you had a great lap throughout the event, maybe you led early in a race, who knows? There's opportunities to make up ground and win some extra points and keep yourself in a championship on a night where you're not really doing so hot.
100%, and that's what's kept one of these two guys, Ryan Beagle, right here in the championship hunt. But the drop week gives you a little bit of an edge, too. That drop week lets you have a bad week and take it away from the scores. That's kept things a little bit more even throughout this season as well. And now we move over into qualifying on the track. So we've set the stage. We've talked about what the points championship looks like coming in. And now we get to see how it will turn out at the end of the night. We'll start with 2 laps of qualifying per car. We've got 3 minutes for everybody to get out there and do it. We'll see who the first couple are that come out onto the track. BRPtv bringing you the BRP TV 60 from Knoxville Raceway tonight on behalf of the BRP iRacing Series Big Block versus Small Block Modifieds. We want to thank BRPtv, Southern Ontario Dirt Show, 47 Technology, MDR Designs, Coda Construction, Super Dirt Car Series, Creative Turnings, Jam Performance, everybody who helps out this series be what it is and get us this wonderful grid of drivers week in, week out. Ryan Beagle, second in the championship right now, hits the track, and he's going to hit the timing stripe and start his first timed lap of qualifying tonight.
Not surprising to see Beagle get out there early, make sure he gets a time on the board, and really throw down a challenge to his championship rival and to the entire field with a quick lap early in this one. We'll see where he can time in at. Matt DeRitter goes top of the board beside Alan Slate, and we've got Dean Reynolds right up there. Ryan Beagle posts 4th fastest on his first timed lap. See how long that holds up, as we've got Jamie Porter jumping inside the top 5 now, Joe.
Porter jumped to 2nd there. Gavin Isley now moves to 3rd. Beagle finishes his 2nd lap, and it is going to be not better, so he'll stick where he is. Higbee's first lap comes in at a 19.267. That'll take him up to 10th. I got that time a little bit wrong. Timing and scoring had to update itself. There are 3 guys who ran the exact same lap time. 8th,
Wow.
9th, and 10th. Wow is right. Sharp, Meisler, and Higbee. And Cody comes past the
Only a
line this
10th
time.
off the pole.
Yep, well, there it goes. There it went. Higbee took a piece out of it, a fat piece out of it, but unfortunately for him, this guy's back and stronger than ever. Brandon Plank put up a fastest time right before Higbee could get it in, and he's sitting on a potential pole right now.
So Plank, Higbee, Porter, 3 heavy hitters at the front, and then there's Tyler Pachalski, who got in the win column last week, survived the Fury at Fairbury, There might have been a little bit of fury involved with his driving style and some incidents from last week, but at the same time, McMahon wants to win. He's going to race desperate, and he earned it. He fought valiantly when it came feature time, did a great job holding everybody off, and he's following it up with a great qualifying run here as we watch the 3A of Adam Hilton make some laps here. He, I believe, is the last car on track trying to take time and post the time right now. Plank, Higbee, Porter, Pachelski, DeRitter. That's a solid top 5.
It is. Matt's still out. Well, Matt just pulled it in. He was doing a couple extra practice laps there. Last guy out there doing practice laps with what's left of qualifying is the Teach Pat Reiser, who was one of the first guys to finish his 8 small block races of the season and just gets to ride it out from here, try to put up as many points as possible, get himself a little bit closer to the front. And now look at this. Here we go. It's time for the first heat race. We will have 2 of these tonight, Jonathan. Starting grid for the first of our 2 8-lap events. We'll bring it to him.
Gonna roll off like this. Brandon Plank gonna go from pole alongside Jamie Porter in second. Matt DeRitter in the 0-3 rolls off third. Alan Slate will roll off fourth in the 2. Then it's Travis Miller lining up fifth in the 22. A little bit of a slow time in qualifying for Travis. We'll see how he negotiates the field from the back half of the field. Jeff Sharp's going to line up sixth in the 28. And Ryan Susie, another one going to come from the back in this heat event.
And somehow timing and scoring dropped him off the tail there. Reiser 8th, Adam Hilton 9th. That's the starting lineup. We got 9 cars to go 8 laps in the first heat race. We'll have 9 more to do the same in the second one of the night. Travis Miller getting a little edgy here, trying to get some heat in those tires. I don't know how that's going to work out for him. The track's still very young and very tacky. There's a lot of moisture and grip in it, so maybe help him out on the start, but I'm not expecting a ton of passing in this first heat race. I don't know about you, Jonathan.
No, I'm not really expecting a ton of passing. I think it's going to be very hard to work your way forward. I think what I'm going to be watching most, Joe, is to see what lane develops and when. It's going to tell us a lot about probably how the feature is going to start, at least, because I think it's going to take a lot for this track to wear in compared to some of the tracks that we've seen on the calendar so far, and how quickly or how slowly they have worked themselves in and which lanes wear themselves out fastest. So Place truck is in, Joe. I'm getting ready to go here. I think Plank going to be the strong one on the inside here. We'll see if Porter's got anything for him, or maybe Matt DeRitter jumps up there and surprises both of them. Green flag in the air, and it's Porter that gets the jump. Oh, Alan Slate bouncing off DeRitter. Wild stuff through turn 1 here, Joe.
They all keep it together. Sharp, Slight, and now Pat Reiser's having a little bit of trouble at the back, keeping the car in line. Gets it squared away, and back to the front. We'll check in. Jamie Porter leads lap number 1 over Plank, Miller, and then you got the number 03 of Matt DeRitter. Things are looking pretty smooth up at the front. The middle of the pack, can't say quite the same.
No, you can see Ryan Susie, who enjoyed a big advantage of that kind of jam up on the first turn. He moved up a couple places. He's trying to hang on to that 5th position right now as he's under fire from Hilton. Good side-by-side racing as they head for the backstretch here. Still side-by-side. Around the outside, it is Susie in the 38, trying to gas it up and clear the 3A of Hilton, but it looks like Hilton's actually going to get a bit of the advantage, as it sure seems like the bottom is the place to be so far.
It seems that way right now just because there's less distance to go around that racetrack. The front of the pack, pretty much single file, nothing really going on for the moment there. That's why we're checking in on the midfield as we get to halfway through the first heat race of this night. Jeff Sharp now trying to put a little bit of a nose under the 38 car. Can we see a battle between these two cars? Sharp's been very good at getting consistent top 10-ish runs lately. Susie's been up and down and has missed a few weeks, but he's right in the middle of the thick stuff right now. Adam Hilton was not here last week, but back on the block and ready to rock. He actually, I wouldn't say he got fed a nose or anything, but he definitely protected his line there, and it gets Susie wonky as he's now moving backwards.
Yeah, Susie sure is struggling right now, but if anybody's going to start at the back and can come forward, we sure have seen what Ryan Susie can pull off in the past in this series, so I'm not too worried about him right now, although the track definitely not to his liking. And back up at the front, Battle is on for the lead, coming to the white flag here. Jamie Porter has it, but Brandon Plank is working him over.
Plank tries to dive in on the low side. You can see a little bit of slick stuff starting in the middle of the racetrack. Jamie Porter goes a little bit higher than it. Plank goes a little bit lower. Is it too little too late for the 77X? Does he have a chance? There's too much grip in the facility still, and Jamie Porter is going to be able to rifle off of the top of the side, and Jamie Porter is going to win the first heat race of the night over Brandon Plank, Travis Miller, and Matt DeRitter. Great run to the line for all those guys. Very solid heat race.
Good stuff. Indeed, as we get ready for heat race number 2 here. Joe, I think bottom side we learned is the dominant place, so everybody who's lining up on this inside row is going to be who to keep an eye on, I think, at least for the initial start of this thing.
Yes, very true. Now, here's the starting lineup for the second heat race of the night. Starting on pole is Cody Higbee in car number 97. He is your championship leader. He will lead in front of last time's winner Tyler Pachalski to the line for heat race number 2. Starting on the inside of row number 2, you've got the number 18. That's Gavin Isley. We call him the Catfish sometimes. We'll probably be seeing him do just that in tonight's action. Dean Reynolds to his outside in car number 79. Ryan Beagle will start 5th. He's second in the championship. So, hey, you got your 2 big ones in this heat race. Those are the 2 guys to watch. Dean Meisler to his outside in car number 49. Then we've got Double D, Dylan Davidson, starting in 7th in the 73 machine. And the Southern Ontario Dirt Show number 90 will start 8th, Travis Cunningham. Rounding out the field for the second heat race of the night is the Beef, Corby Daniels. And as we get a nice shot into the beautiful Knoxville, Iowa, that's Main Street, by the way, too. We'll get back onto our field and get ready for 8 more laps of heat racing action. 4 points on the line for Higbee if he can stay in the lead of this one, and that would definitely be of help for him in his fight against Ryan Beagle in the championship. 60 laps will come on the far side of a 5-lap warm-up session once we get these 8 laps in, but for the time being, the field's going to get put into the hands of Cody Higbee with Pachalski on his outside and Isley right in tow. They're about to Texas two-step and take the green flag for 8 more laps of racing here from Knoxville. And the green flag waves, and let's see what goes. Nice start for the outside line and Tyler Pachalski, but the inside line might pay into the favor of Higbee. That momentum's still there for Pachalski.
Oh, one car on the wall in the back there. I'm not sure. I think that was Meitzler that tagged it pretty hard. So I saw him bounce off. I believe it might have been Davidson or maybe even Ryan Beagle. Either way, he keeps it straight, and he'll file back into position, I believe, about 7th. Battle still on for the lead, though, Joe, and Tyler Pachalski is not giving up around the outside. Cody Higbee doing a great job fighting on the inside. Something I saw again on that restart is, as Higbee climbs the hill a little bit, now we're stacking him up. And the worst, I think, is who's going to get the worst of that is Ryan Beagle, as he falls back into the pack, now back to 7th, maybe even further.
Yeah, Ryan Beagle was the big loser in that situation right there. They kept stacking up, and for a split second, I thinking, maybe Higbee's going to fall out of this and Beagle will have something to say, but unfortunately, Beagle couldn't get out of the way of it either. So Higbee falls back to 4th. He's trying to get himself back into 3rd, at least, with Isley. Dylan Davidson and Dean Meitzler to the outside of Beagle. Beagle makes some contact with the 49 car back there. And back to the front, Dean Reynolds is putting on a little bit of a clinic to try to get around that 21P car as we come halfway through this heat race.
Yeah, don't forget, these two found themselves in a bit of a tangle last week in a heat race, and once again, they find themselves towards the front half of the field and trying to settle this one. Not sure how much patience Dean Reynolds is going to have, and if he decides to be overly aggressive in this heat race, I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, you know what? I think Dirk Gardine's a pretty respectful guy. I'd like to think he left last week in the past, and we'll see how he races that hot tamale who's out in front leading things right now.
I think if there's anybody, Jonathan, that I would want to have an altercation like that with, it would be Dean Reynolds, because I think he is one of the more cool, collected guys of this series. He likes to leave things in the past, I think. Of all the drivers, I would say that would be a good one to have that sort of situation with, because he's willing to put it behind him and have a good race. And I think that's what he's about to do, because with the white flag coming out, Reynolds is still challenging, but not getting too antsy with that 21P car. Pachalski still leads to the backstretch.
Yeah, the door is open, though. Does Reynolds really sail it in this final time? Trying to make it stick on the bottom side. can't do it so far. He's going to have to he's got a little wiggle there and lift off. And Pachalski going for another heat win. And he has really caught fire at the right time of the season, putting on some great performances to come towards the end of this BRP TV iRacing League season. And Tyler Pachalski, your winner, Heat 2 over Dean Reynolds.
He is a great run for Pachalski. That was a good race. These were two really good heat races, Jonathan. We had some really good racing. They got a little argy-bargy, but it wasn't too bad. It's setting up a nice night. I don't want to jinx anything, but these guys seem to have things under control for the moment.
Yeah, certainly. It's good racing so far, although I wonder if the grooves doesn't widen out a little bit. Does the give and take level go away over the course of this race? That's going to be the main question that I have throughout this night. It'll be interesting to watch for sure. I hold my breath, you know.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. We'll see what happens when the track gets fully slicked off. We want to take a second while we're in this warm-up session. We've got about 4 minutes before we set the starting grid for our 60 laps of action tonight. And we want to make shout-outs to all of our partners here at BRPtv, MDR Designs. If you're ever in need of competitively priced graphic design work, company logos, iRacing cars, or any other branding, they've got the solution for you. Matt DeRitter and his stables have painted a lot of beautiful cars in iRacing, including the one you're looking at here, and the one you're looking at here, and the one you're looking at here, and the one you're looking at here. Yeah, needless to say, Matt does great work. So go hit up Matt on Facebook to request a quote or an appointment today. I want to thank Jam Performance for their longtime support of this series. If you know, you know. We want to thank Creative Turnings, another longtime supporter based out of Waterford, Connecticut, with wood and acrylic household items such as pens, bowls, candlesticks, charcuterie boards, and much more. Custom homemade products for great for gift giving and home decor. Head over to their Facebook site to learn more. The ground-pounding, earth-rattling beasts of the Northeast are the premier touring modified racing series in North America, a series that many of the drivers you see tonight are involved in regularly. Head to SuperDirtCarSeries.com to go check out when the Super Dirt Car Series hit up venues nearby that you can go experience the thrill of that series. And don't forget to check out Dirt Vision to keep up with the races that you can't quite get to in your own neck of the woods. We want to thank Dig Race Products. Since 2016, Dig has been a sole-focused Northeast dirt modified shock and suspension tuning company located in central New York. Dig is the industry leader for trackside shock and setup support. This hands-on at-the-track approach that they have is what leads the design and development in delivering the highest quality shock absorbers to the dirt oval racing scene. Visit www.digraceproducts.com for more information and to shop online anytime. Bringing you live coverage of the BRP iRacing Series is BRPtv. We're proud to provide coverage for all of our partners, drivers, and fans of this Edge of Seat racing series. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to enable notifications for when we go live. I want to thank 47 Technology, providing custom decor and solutions, 3D printing for retail and personal collectibles of your wildest creations. Visit their Etsy shop to see what's available and to reach out for custom printing requests. And, of course, the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Jonathan Howe and Travis Cunningham host weekly podcasts to talk about the racing scene, interview drivers, promoters, big-time members of the dirt racing scene in Southern Ontario. You can hit up their stuff on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, basically anywhere that you get your podcasts, you will have access to the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. It's a great listen when you're out on the road. That's what I usually do, take it up and put it on while I'm on my way to my far-off destinations of Atlantis and Merrittville Speedway. And we want to thank all of our partners who have been along with us throughout the course of the season as well. Coda Construction, Costco Haulage, RKR. Been a great ride. Everybody watching as well. We've got about 30 of you here with us, and we really appreciate you guys coming out on your Monday nights, supporting these drivers, our partners, and this racing series on a weekly basis. It's been a wild ride. Jonathan, we are on the 18th of 20 races already. That's kind of crazy to say, but here we are, man.
Yeah, here we are, Joe. You know what? It's been a blast. It's been a really fun ride. And, you know, it feels like it's just getting started. You know, there's a lot of work being put on behind the scenes between yourself, Matt DeRitter, the Beef, and I guess even myself. I should probably throw my name in the hat, too, to make sure that BRPtv lives on into the racing season no matter where you are in the world. And if you're somebody out there who's thinking about putting together an iRacing league of any kind of vehicles, and you want it hosted and you want a beautiful production like what we can offer here and what we have been offering all season long, maybe, just maybe, we're the right team to do that and broadcast your iRacing league too, right, Joe? So this has been one heck of a year, and things are only getting started with BRPtv.
Oh, 100%. Things are definitely going to be ramping up in due time from this series, and we're very excited to see what becomes of the next few weeks and the next, hopefully, few months of this year. Big things to come. Speaking of big things to come, tonight's race is about to come down, and the starting lineup will come to you as so. We start off on the front row of the grid, and we are going to just pull it from ATVO here. So Jamie Porter is your pole sitter in car number 45. Starting to his outside is that 21P. Last time's winner, Tyler Pachalski. Then in row number 2, it's Brandon Plank on the inside in the 77X. And the 79 of Dirt Car Dean Reynolds, will go from 4th position. 5th place on the grid is going to be the thriller Travis Miller. To his outside will be the number 18 of Gavin Isley. And then we've got Matt DeRitter, the MDR Designs car, with the Iceless number 97. Cody Higby, the championship leader, starts 8th. P9 goes to Adam Hilton in the 3A, and to his outside will be Dean Meitzler rounding out the top 10. The top 10 tonight would be very good for that 49 car. Then we've got the Slight Electrical number 2 of Alan Slight, starting alongside our boss man up with the BRP iRacing Series. It's the Beefer, Corby Daniels. Starting 13th on the grid. In the MDR Designs machine, BRPtv on the side as well, Jeff Sharp and Ryan Beagle will start from 14th. He's got his work cut out for him tonight. Ryan Susi also has his work cut out for him, but he's a guy who's known to get things back in line by the end of a race. He will go from 15th alongside the Southern Ontario Dirt Show number 90 of Travis Cunningham. Starting in P17, the Joel Barnes number 33 is the Teach Pat Reiser out of New York. And running at the tail of the field, the Costco Haulage, Verge, MDR Designs, Coda Construction, number 73, out of Ontario is Dylan Davidson. The lights are out on the pace truck, which means one more circuit before we set them loose for the BRPtv 60 tonight. We are pleased to have you, Jonathan Howe, alongside me. I'm Joe Donahue, and it is about to be the third to last race of this season. Live it while we can and soak it up. Have fun with it. These guys are about to kick the tires, light the fires, get ready to go, play in the clay here at Knoxville Raceway. Pace truck's off the track, and the green flag's coming to you. Barney in the stand waiting for formation, and we're ready to go. The green flag comes to you, and it's race time here in Iowa.
Good start into turn 1. Porter noses ahead of Pachalski. Plank sitting there, lurking in the second row alongside Dean Reynolds. Still mostly side by side through the front half of the field. Field fans out pretty wide through 3 and 4. Jamie Porter's going to come away with the lead, but who takes second? Plank and Pachalski side by side in turn 1.
Pachalski gets the run off the top side. Dirt Car Dean's going to try to follow him. There was getting close there. And Plank's got a little bit of speed on the bottom side of the racetrack, so he's holding his ground pretty well. Backside of the grid, they're kind of fanning out. They're going 3 wide a little further back there. Beagle's trying to make some time up from the tail end of the field. Porter leads. Now it's going to be Pachalski snookering the 2 of those cars from the other spots there in the middle. Oh, he gets it all wrong on the bottom side. That berm, you know, Jonathan, you can kind of see that berm, but you really got to know your way around this racetrack if you want to miss it. And I think Pachalski might have just got a little excited right there.
Yeah, and I think I've been keeping an eye on Porter here through the first couple laps, and I'm not sure that he's 100% happy. I know he's back to the lead now, but he kind of has been using an in-between no man's land kind of lane. And early in this one, it almost cost him as Pachalski and Plank had him kind of sandwiched, and then Pachalski kind of hit the slide job that went wrong. That made open the hole for Porter to go back through. But Plank and Pachalski still side by side. I kind of figured by now Plank might have been able to clear Pachalski, but Tyler Pachalski showing that last week's win, not a fluke, and he's got plenty of speed. If he can keep it clean, he will keep it towards the front half of this field. As no surprise also, the Catfish, there's Gavin Isley making some way on the bottom side of this racetrack.
He's trying to, definitely working in his favor right now. I think that the top needs to, I don't know. The top's kind of good right now. I think there's a good balance, and I'm not sure how long that's going to last, because the bottom side usually keeps a little bit more life in it as the race goes on at Knoxville, and everybody uses up the top, and then the top gets too far up, and you start losing time running up there, so everybody starts coming back down to the bottom, which is kind of what you're seeing Travis Miller do right now. So Isley's the only one really hitting the bottom, and even as I say that, he slides up into the slick stuff, and that's how you fall backwards in a train like we have right now.
It really seems like this track is making it hard to roll the middle of the corner on the bottom side. You can definitely carry the speed around the outside much easier, and even though the shortest distance around this racetrack is obviously that inner line, as we see a battle for the lead as Plank is trying to use the inside line to go to the front now past Porter. Porter doing a great job on the outside in the 45, using that high side to kind of protect it, and no, Plank slides up into the not quite groomed part of the racetrack yet in terms of tire tracks, and now Porter back to the lead. But Joe, it just seems like for most of this field, it's really hard to roll the center of the corner and actually get your car to stay on the gas, really, and keep getting the drive off the corner you need.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way right now. The track's kind of working its way through cycle here, and we're getting to the point where we'll have two very solid lines with a very burnt out middle. It's kind of what we're looking at. And Porter's still trying to share some sliders with Plank because they've got the opportunity to get that grip down low or get that grip up high when they rifle off the bottom, slide up to the top side of the racetrack. In the meantime, while those two kind of fight all over the racetrack, Pachalski, Reynolds, and Higbee have started making up some small amounts of solid ground on the top side of the racetrack, and now they're in the picture.
Yeah, definitely a freight train around the top now as we see 5, 6, 7 cars all migrating up there. Isley still committing to the bottom, and why not? You're the only car really trying to make it work down there. If these guys end up in some kind of log jam or some kind of accordion effect, that definitely could end up in the favor of Gavin Isley as he avoids it. But it definitely seems the outside is the place to be now as we see Beagle, the big dog, trying to go to work down low. Cody Higbee trying to advance forward on the low side of this racetrack. Dirk Cardine and Tyler Pachalski. It's like a Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain thing. They just keep finding each other out on the racetrack. And once again, you can see them battling tightly there. But again, Dirk Cardine doing a great job giving Pachalski all kinds of room and not leaning on him just yet as we're only 15 laps into this one.
Yeah, great battle right here with those two. Very well-matched drivers, at least for the moment, with the way this track stands. Isley just got a fat piece of the wall there. Hopefully his car handles all right, because he came off turn number 2 and he just couldn't get it woed down and off the top side of the track enough to avoid making some significant contact with the wall. About to do it again. This time he keeps it under control. He's working with Travis Miller to his inside. That's a battle for 7th place between them, but they're both trying to get up there with Higbee, put him a couple spots further back.
Joe, maybe you can speak to this with your iRacing experience, but when you do tag a wall like that, what are you feeling on the race car? What is the first thing in this simulation to kind of go away after some contact with a wall?
Well, when you make contact with the wall in iRacing, there's a lot of things that can happen because this game, albeit not the most consistent, it's a pretty good way. It's a pretty good game, but it's not very consistent. Sometimes you'll hit that wall and nothing will happen, and you'll drive off the corner, and the car will be the same, and it'll all be fine. Sometimes you'll know if you hit it too much. You'll be sitting a little bit wonky on the straightaway. You won't really be able to get the power down quite the same or as well as you did the last time around. And then when you go into the next set of corners, you really feel the tail end come out from underneath you. You slide around, a lot of oversteer. But I think another big part of it, at least for me, is the confidence of going into the next corner, because you know what happens in this simulator when you hit the wall too hard and you pop out that, ooh, we got some contact going on up here. And maybe an opportunity for Beagle, but you understand what the risk is when you go into the next corner. Like, hey, is this car beat up? Am I about to just slide in here, grip flip, fly over the wall, or slam into someone? And I think the confidence to go into the next corner and say, let's find out what happens, lick the stamp and send it, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and that somebody who's definitely thinking twice about the line he took was Dylan Davidson after Ryan Beagle was able to grab a couple spots when Davidson clipped the inside berm there, sent him up into Alan Slate, and then they both kind of had to whoa up just a little bit, and that allowed the big dog to squeeze back by and get a little bit closer towards the front half of this field, but he is significantly behind our leader Cody Higbee in terms of the championship standings, and also significantly behind the race leader in Brandon Plank, who's just up there pacing the field, as we probably should come to expect when Brandon Plank is in this situation. Dirk Ardeen has gotten past Tyler Pachalski, so Reynolds up to third. Pachalski now trying to hang on to fourth. It's contact there, Isley and Pachalski. More cars piling in. One car over on its lid, it's Pachalski. And I believe that might have been Susie that also got a piece of it in the 38. We're going to have a replay here of that one. But that all started with, I'm not sure if Isley tried to come up the racetrack or if Pachalski cleared himself down. But two guys going for the same piece of real estate was not going to end well, and it certainly did not for Tyler Pachalski there.
No, it did not. So we will be able to check out the BRPtv replay and see what goes down as a result of, well, the first miscue of the night, too. I mean, we've gotten the whole way into this before having any sort of issues. We're riding along. We're watching Pachalski. There goes Dean Reynolds sliding up the racetrack. DeRitter behind him with Isley there as well. They'll come down the front stretch. You'll see Pachalski slide to the bottom of the racetrack here. DeRitter, Higbee up on the top with Isley behind them. And then this is where things are going to get a little squirrely. They go through turn number 1, and he woes up. And Isley's coming off the bottom, and they just meet in the middle. And then wild ride for the 21 from here. Miller and Susie also get pretty big pieces of this.
Yeah, Susie especially ends up flipping Pachalski, and Miller was the one who piled in last behind Susie there. But that just, to me, looks like a racing deal, Joe. Like, you can't really fault either driver for that. You know, Isley got a great run on the entry to that corner, was charging up there. I think even if Pachalski doesn't come down, I don't think Isley was going to wash all the way up the racetrack, so he probably would have been fine. And Pachalski as well probably would have been fine if he maybe hung out on the high side. Let's see, this is the onboard of Gavin Isley. Yeah.
I think they met in the middle.
It really seems like they met in the middle because, like, obviously Isley was running in the middle of the racetrack and was coming up the racetrack, but that's what he's expected to do, running the bottom side. And Pachalski probably just thought he was clear and maybe didn't realize that Gavin Isley got the run that he did. But either way, tough break for both those drivers. They're going to have to start out back in this one as the field is doubled up. And we'll see if Porter and Plank have anything for each other here to settle it on the restart.
This is where it goes. Now I'm wondering if cautions breed cautions is the big thing that I'm wondering about this one. Is the field's all bunched back up. The green flag comes out. Plank controls the restart very well. And Porter's right in his tail, but can't quite make a move. So DeRitter now putting on a fight with Dean Reynolds for third place, and Miller's in the picture there as well.
Oh, I'm certainly glad that you said it. As we do have some cars bouncing off the wall on that backstretch there, but I guess that was the front stretch. Pardon me. But I'm glad that you said it and not me, Joe. Wow, Reynolds and DeRitter getting into it. I think Miller's into the wall almost. You said cautions breed cautions, and the field is just begging for one right now, the way these guys are leaning on each other earlier this week.
Definitely, and look at this. Cody Higbee's fallen all the way back into the grips of Ryan Beagle. Suddenly, that large lead that Higbee had over his main competitor in the championship has dwindled to the two of them sitting right beside each other on the racetrack. Now, Higbee had a 2-point lead coming into the night, a 6-point lead, and he gained 2 extra in the heat races. So Ryan Beagle is going to have to capitalize as much as possible, make that pass and a couple more if he wants to get back into the hunt. But, hey, that helped him. That helped him a lot.
Yeah, it certainly helped him a lot. And as it looks like Beagle is not quite he just doesn't quite have the speed or anything figured out to keep up with Higbee. Higbee definitely is fast. Somebody I want to give a call to is, how about Jeff Sharp up there, mixing it up inside the top 10? We don't talk about him a lot in this series, and I feel like he is just one of those guys, if it weren't for bad luck, he'd probably have no luck at all, honestly. But Jeff Sharp doing a great job here tonight, and he seems to be able to roll the bottom pretty good in that 28 machine as he's trying to make the pass on Miller and Higbee right there as well. And good little battle for, I think that's about 7th on the racetrack.
Definitely, yeah, and this is a battle between now 6th and 7th, and the yellow flag comes out. We're not sure who it's for. think it's Ryan Susi, and it might be actually Adam Hilton. It is Adam Hilton. Pardon us. So we'll go check a replay back on the 3A car and see what becomes of that, because that's a tough break for a guy who missed last week's event. And, he's actually got Dylan Davidson involved in this one as well with him.
Now let's see, they're all working in the corner there. Hilton's on the high side. Pachalski on the bottom clips the 73. And then, bam, Hilton involved. Oh, Gavin Isley also gets a big piece of this one. 2 cars go up and over, at least onto the side, and one goes over. But, yeah, that's one of those things for Tyler Pachalski, right, where he gets himself in trouble once. Then he's got to try to come back through the field. He knows he's got speed. I'm sure he's trying to send it and get through the field as fast as he possibly can. And then, it's really easy to get yourself in trouble when there's, suddenly 14 cars in front of you and not just 2 or 3.
Yeah. Tough break for Dylan Davidson and Adam Hilton. 2 guys who are fairly good at keeping their noses clean in this series. Unfortunately, just kind of get caught up in each other as a result of a little bit of contact with the 21 car. So they were already at the tail end of the field. It didn't really shake up the points or the running order that much. Tyler Pachalski is still sitting P12. Got out of that one okay. He passed your main man, Travis Cunningham, though. Jonathan, I don't know.
Yeah, Travis has been a little bit off the pace, honestly. I got to say, I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure Knoxville is one of the tracks that he doesn't have a lot of faith in, a lot of confidence in. And it's been a bit of a rough go. But we'll ask him about it. It's I kind of feel like sometimes I'm Travis's therapist. I got to talk to him about what it's like inside the race car. And now I think I'm going to go start working with him, and that's going to be a whole other added dimension as we get back to the green here. Good start from Plank. He's going to be well clear of Jamie Porter. But Porter's going to get a great run down the backstretch here using that high side. He closes right back up on Plank, and he's going to make it interesting going into 3 and 4 here, Joe.
You mentioned confidence there, Jonathan. I think confidence is the biggest thing you need at Knoxville. It's a very fast track. It's a very flat track. The walls are there, but they're not the most forgiving piece of the racetrack. Yellow flag comes out. We talked about confidence, but maybe a little bit too much confidence is what causes us our 3rd caution of the night. And Ryan Susi's involved. Don't know if he's the one who started it, but we'll get a replay back and we'll see.
You can see Travis Cunningham there, Dylan Davidson, who was involved in that last caution. Susi trying to get to the inside of Cunningham.
And this is a little premature. This whole incident's about to happen in turn 1 here, so this is the setup.
Okay, so coming down the front stretch, Susi's got a good run on Davidson.
Whoa.
Oh, they're already wrecking in front. It's Jeff Sharp.
Whoa.
So it's actually Jeff Sharp, I believe, that is the main culprit for the caution, which I'll take the announcer's jinx L on that one because I just gave him a big shout out for how he's been running today. Oh, it's Beagle.
Yeah, let's catch this back a little bit further. 3 and 4 here. Beagle and Sharp, those are the guys to watch.
So they're 3 wide. Sharp there in the middle. And yeah, it kind of looks like Beagle just, I don't know if he was fighting a tight car there, but the car just wanted to keep coming up the racetrack, and maybe he didn't realize it was 3 wide. Maybe he didn't realize Sharp was there. I'm not 100% sure, but that when it rains, it pours for one of our championship battlers, Ryan Beagle, who's been towards the back half of the field for most of the race. Finally gets up towards the front and finds himself in an issue like that.
Things have been getting interesting as of late in this race. We're already within sight of 20 laps to go. When they get the green, they will have 20 laps to go. So we've moved along fairly nicely tonight. But we've had a couple cautions back to back to back. The question is, can we keep it clean for a little while and get to the end of this race, or are we going to have another reset? Because it'll give Jamie Porter maybe one more opportunity to figure out how to get around Plank on a restart. That's something that hasn't really been the easiest to do this season. But he'll give it a shot here as the green flag's going to come out. Once more, Barney waves it from the flag stand, and we're at 20 to go now in the BRPtv 60.
20 to go, 20-lap shootout to end it. Brandon Plank gets a great restart. Porter not going to get the drive off the top that we saw from that last restart. Into 3 and 4, though. He goes to the bottom and takes a good chunk out of the lead of Plank. We'll see if he can get the power back down to the rear wheels and keep pace with the 77. Not able to do so as closely, but Porter is definitely fast and definitely there, Joe. This is far from over.
This is definitely far from over. Porter knows how to get around a fast racetrack. Half miles are kind of the way, they kind of work in his favor. He's very good at half miles, and that's where he's had the best performances so far this season. Brandon Plank goes to the bottom here to try to defend a run from the 45 car. DeRitter is right there as well. Matt DeRitter just consistently getting better and better with these race cars, and he's showing it right now because he's looking for second, and Dirk Cardine maybe going to try to steal third from him. Doesn't quite go. Meanwhile, 5th place championship leader, the guy who won the first time we came here this season, just chilling in 5th place, Cody Higbee, with a over-under move on Dean Reynolds. He's going to try it, and he'll slide him into turn number 3.
Down 3 and 4, slide job up in front of the 79. Keep it clear, keep it clean, and good racing amongst the 79 and the 97 there. Not as great of a turn entry there for Higbee, but he gets the power down. He'll stay in front of Dean Reynolds right now, but Cody Higbee doing a great job just managing his race and keeping himself out in front of the big dog Ryan Beagle, who after that incident has found himself back inside the top 10, and he's a couple spots off of Higbee, but he's going to need to beat Higbee by a couple spots. Oh no! Was that Miller who gets tagged by Beagle? We might be really living the announcer jinx tonight here, Joe.
We might have to stop talking. We might have to just do a pure sound to the end of the race. Oh, yeah, man.
For real.
Yeah, that's Miller, and I think Beagle's going to be the culprit here. We'll have to get back a replay just to make sure. But tough break for Travis, too, a guy who needed a good run to put some confidence under the belts of that machine. And we'll catch it back now. You'll see Miller's pretty clear of Beagle and Slight. So this will probably have somewhat of a result of Travis Miller's own doing. Let's see.
So Beagle really sends it in here. He tries the slider on the slate machine, and Miller kind of comes down. That's, again, one of those racing deals where neither one really truly stayed in their line, and they kind of met in the middle, and that's the result of it. But tough break for both of them because they were having great, solid nights. And I don't want to play homer here, but I do have to say that even though Ryan Beagle has now found himself in 2 incidents, that's not the kind of racer we've come to know him as, Joe. And even in the real world, he's one of the most respectful guys when it comes to racing a street stock around a dirt oval. So that's not really his style. So just one of those racing deals where it's getting in the wrong spots at the wrong time. And Beagle needs to have a bit more of a clean race if he wants to keep his championship hopes alive here.
Yeah, and he's also going to have to get that momentum up because we're going to be, I think we'll have 11 laps to go at the stripe, and he's put himself back in 9th place, which isn't terrible, but the guy he wants to beat is in 4th right now. So not really working into his favor championship-wise right now. Plank has had complete control with Jamie Porter of this race. DeRitter's been in the mix the whole time. Higbee's been there. Reynolds has been there. Alan Slight all of a sudden is in the top 5 picture, looking to get in there. Isley, Hilton. Then there's Mr. Beagle. And to his outside, I believe we've got the 21. Yes, we do. Tyler Pachalski's gotten back into the top 10. That's a fast race car. Could get up to the front by the end of it. 10 laps to go next time past the stripe.
10 laps to go next time by. Great shootout. Great battle for the lead. Porter to the outside of Plank. Plank using the low side. Going to throw the slider. Porter with the crossover. Back to the inside goes the 45 of Jamie Porter. Great duel at the front of this field, and he's through to the lead. Porter slides up in front of the 77. Now a crossover from Plank down the back straightaway. They're still wheel-to-wheel and side-by-side. Plank files back into line. Can Porter hold him off for 10 more times?
That's a lot to ask of the 45 car. Can you hold Brandon Plank back for 10 more laps? Although he did a good job that time by, and he might have a strategic sort of defensive line figured out to keep Plank in his mirror. Higbee makes a pass for third. Yellow's coming back out, though. This is going to be a big shakeup once again, and I think this one's going to include Adam Hilton again.
Wow, Jamie Porter did not want to see that. He had it figured out. He had everything he possibly needed on that restart. He got out in front, and he was clear, and the caution flies. Oh, Joe, what a heartbreaker. Let's see if we can grab a replay to see what happens to Hilton here, but at the front of this field, how is this going to shake things up?
Oh, this is going to be a shakeup. That is for sure. So here's Hilton. He gets a little bit too aggressive on Beagle into Davidson. Pachalski and Meitzler are too close by. Miller just kind of runs into this too. Sharp's involved. Hilton's wrecking down the front stretch. Miller gets a nice little flip in there. I saw Brian Brown do that in person one time. That's a pretty wild ride for the 22 car. Unfortunately for these two is Hilton. I don't think Hilton gets the whole way back on all fours. Yeah, unfortunately that's going to pretty much end both of those guys' nights because we don't have enough time left in this race for them to put anything big together anymore.
No. Tough break for both of them, especially Miller, who was up there for most of this race up inside the top 7 or 8 spots for pretty much all of it until he was involved in that incident with Ryan Beagle. But Joe, what is going through the mind of Jamie Porter right now? Like, if you're the 45, are you taking the inside? Are you taking the outside? You had some success from the outside the last time. How does Jamie Porter hold off Brandon Plank here? And what about Cody Higbee? Does our championship leader really put his foot down that he is the championship favorite with a big, maybe bonsai move into one or some kind of effort over these last final laps to put the 97 in victory lane?
Well, I like what Porter did because he put himself on the high side. I think that that's a good starting position when the track's this slick. He can, as long as you can move up and get some grip on the tires when you gun it, it's a good spot for him to be able to defend into 1 and 2. I think that's the big thing. Plank's going to have to be really aggressive and get the nose underneath the 45 if he wants to make a run and a bit at the lead. Higbee's in okay shape there as well. He won the time we came last. Green flag comes back out. And, yep, good run into the corner from Porter, and he can defend really well from that outside line. He will stay in the race lead as we're back to green.
Porter's best friend on this restart is going to be the 97 of Cody Higbee. If Higbee gets alongside Brandon Plank for even just a lap or two, that might be just enough for Porter to get away from the race for second. Meanwhile, though, the race is actually on for third as DeRitter is keeping Higbee honest. Those two are starting to kind of fall back off the lead, although Higbee's now separated himself by about a car length or two over Matt DeRitter. And around through 3 and 4, Plank not able to get within striking distance yet, but he might be waiting until the very last lap here, Joe.
Great defensive line from Porter there. And if he can keep Plank in the slick stuff, get a nice run off the top, and he does, he will retain the lead, and he goes all the way to the bottom to defend it for a second time. Plank's going to try to get in line, maybe wait his turn now as Cody Higbee's getting into the picture a little bit. 1 more mile to go in this race tonight. Porter, that's an opportunity for Plank right there. That was an opportunity, and it might get taken into turn number 3. Slider incoming. Yes, and there it is. Can't get quite by that 45. Good defensive line. Keep that 77 car pinned as the white flag comes out one more time around.
1 more lap to settle it. Jamie Porter in the 45. Brandon Plank in the 77. Plank to the inside. Has a wheel alongside Porter. Down the back straightaway, Plank settles in behind. Does he have one more in him? Can he get alongside for the slider? Can Porter keep it off the fence? This could be a drag race. Not quite. Porter's going to do it. Jamie Porter holds off Brandon Plank, and Cody Higbee goes to P3 and takes a commanding lead in this championship with a great run in that 97 machine. But how about the defensive driving masterclass from Jamie Porter to get that done? Great stuff from the 45.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a little bit of scrapping going on here. I don't know if it's Slider, Pachalski, or Reiser, or whatnot. Who's a little upset with who? Matt DeRitter got into it a little bit with Reynolds. 2 of them were making contact. We just cut away. His slide got flipped upside down. Those guys were getting into each other, but back up at the front. What a classy run for these guys. What a great performance to the line, and especially for the guy who holds them off, Jamie Porter in car number 45, finally getting himself back into victory lane. It's been a fat minute. It's been since last season even. It's his first of the season. Believe it or not, it's kind of hard to believe that Jamie Porter hasn't won a race yet this season, but that's what it is. So we're going to give him a quick second to cool down, get out of those cars, and we'll pull him out as soon as possible to talk to our race winner and the rest of our podium. We're going to have Brandon Plank and Cody Higbee following. But, Jonathan, I think we're ready for him, and we've got Jamie Porter inbound to the booth. I'll hand him over to you, my friend.
Jamie Porter, it's Jonathan up in the booth. You got a copy, my friend.
I gotcha.
Buddy, that was impressive. What a performance, holding off maybe the best in this series in Brandon Plank. Talk to us about that final restart and your belief in yourself. Did you really think you were going to be able to hold him off?
For a couple laps there, I thought I did, and then that last restart came, and I chose the top for some reason. I don't know why. I think it was just because I passed him up there, and I knew I was going to have to throw a dirty block on him, which you never want to, but when you're racing for the win, you're gonna go for the win, right? But yeah, I'm glad we kept it clean. Nobody touched. I think a little bit down the backstretch when I initially passed him, which that's racing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That was some fantastic racing between the two of you. Just talk to me about how good it feels to get back in victory lane in this 45. You've been close, you've been fast throughout the year, but you end up in victory lane tonight.
Yeah, I think I've been runner-up probably 4 or 5 times now, but feels good to be back. You know, this is my last race because I'm going to Cuba next week, and I'll miss the last 2. So to end on a high note for me is actually really, really good.
Really nice. And before you head off to chase the sunshine, you chase the checkers here tonight. Who do you want to thank for a great drive?
Starters, St. Catharines Marina, Evergreen Thrift Store, Garden City Auto Detail, BF Sports for hooking me up, MDR Designs for making me look as good as I do out there, and everybody behind the scenes at the series between you guys, Beef, Matt, all those guys.
Well, congrats, buddy. What a way to cap off a campaign in this Winter iRacing League for BRPtv. Congratulations. There's Jamie Porter, wins it at Knoxville.
And that was a classy run. Great stuff from him. Very happy to see that because Jamie, he's deserved that. He's had that coming for a while. He's had a lot of really great performances. Things quite don't go his way every week, but this week they did. Next guy we get to talk to is one that we talk to quite a bit up in this studio, and I get the pleasure of talking to him this time. Brandon Plank, Joe Donahue up here in the booth. You got a copy, my friend?
Yes, got you loud and clear.
Well, there he is. Brandon Plank, you've got a good, 7 wins on this season? That's a lot. Second places, you've only got 2. And tonight, I don't know, man. Did you think you had the opportunity with the way this track was running at the end of the race to get a run on that 45 car?
Yeah, I think if I had more time, I was going to be able to get back by him. He just got a really good restart. I don't know. I saw that he was kind of way up by the wall. I don't know if he just timed me up kind of perfectly or what happened there. But yeah, just didn't restart either as quickly as he did or just not as good. I don't know. But yeah, just got me on the restart there, and that's racing. That'll happen. But yeah, I think that if there was, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 more laps left, I was going to be able to try to muster something, at least show a nose underneath him again. But yeah, wasn't able to in the time left. He did a good job, and that was a lot of fun. You kind of feel like a little bit of a sitting duck out front like that because you don't feel good anywhere on the track, to be honest with you. I didn't feel good on the bottom. I didn't really feel good in the middle. But I was able to, maintain the lead the whole time and then just get kind of snookered at the end. And hey, that happens.
And how do you think the cautions that we had sort of from the middle to the end of this race played into that? Do you think if you had less yellow time, you would have had a little bit more opportunity and a better advantage on that 45 car, or do you think the yellows gave you maybe a little bit more of a chance?
No, I think if you're going to try to kind of formulate some sort of plan or move on a guy, you really need it to be stretched out a little bit because you want to be able to kind of get to the wall and move around wherever you kind of need to be when you're in second. Whereas if you're just restarting thirds right there, and it makes it a little bit more difficult. But yeah, I think that we really ran a really good race. I think it was 23, 24 laps without a caution, and then got a bunch in a row. But yeah, I don't know if I could have done anything different. Jamie did a good job on the restart, and I think that was all that it took for him.
And tell me what it is about these bigger racetracks, because we're coming down on Eldora next week and Charlotte to end out the season. Something about these half mile, or at least the bigger racetracks, just works into your favor. You've had some really stellar and outstanding performances at the larger racetracks we've run at this season, specifically the half miles. What is it about a larger racetrack or of something of that sorts, whether there's a lot of banking or not, you're still really competitive? Is there something special about that special 0.5 that gets you going?
I don't know necessarily about that. I like the bigger racetracks in general. They tend to kind of slicken off a little bit earlier. I really struggle when the tracks are brown all the way across where you can't see any grip difference. I don't know if I'm not on the throttle enough or I need to be on it more. Like I got my doors blown off in the heat race on the initial start. I thought I was going, and man, everybody was pushing me into the into one. But yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy getting on here. I've been turning laps kind of in the off nights with a couple guys, my dad, and so I'm still enjoying getting on here and having fun. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Eldora. Hopefully I can make it.
Well, we hope to have you back, because you put on a great performance every week you come out with us, and we want to thank you for showing up and congratulate you on a great second place run. Is there anybody else you got to thank or shout out here on the broadcast before we set you loose tonight?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I got to thank the guys that are on the car, Traditional Lacrosse, 4Wide, Ultra Fab, just, friends and family for tuning in. I really, I know I've said this a lot throughout the year, but, I'll keep saying it. I really appreciate you guys putting this deal on, and it's a professionally run deal, and the broadcast is great. So thanks to you guys. And yeah, looking forward to the next few races, before the regular race season really fires up here.
Absolutely, Brandon. Well, thank you for joining us and racing with us. You're a part of what makes this series so great, and congratulations again for your run tonight.
Thanks a lot.
Yep, and there is Brandon Plank, second place tonight. He is one of the classiest drivers on the racetrack and one of the classiest drivers off the racetrack. Brandon's a very respectable guy, Jonathan. And another one of those very respectable guys is the one that you're going to get to talk to next. We'll bring him into the booth. It's our third place finisher tonight, Cody Higbee.
Cody Higbee, it's Jonathan Howe up in the booth. You got a copy, my friend?
Yeah, I got you.
I got you too. That's good to hear, and good to see you bringing home with a solid third place finish. You started 8th, and you survived a lot of chaos, because it certainly felt through the back half of that top 10 that there were multiple incidents that maybe you just dodged, or maybe just happened just behind you. So talk to us about a relatively calm night from your vantage point.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't too confident starting 8th. Track position is huge at Knoxville. So, with that being said, I knew I had to kind of keep my nose clean for the first 40 or so laps and then try to charge from there. But, I felt really comfortable once I got rolling there. I found a brown patch on the top. Really, everybody else was running a little bit lower. I was kind of the only one up there. And, it would really rocket me into the corner and through the middle. So I could really get a run on somebody coming off. But, restarts were really huge tonight, especially towards the end. So if you were kind of in the right lane, you can, make some moves and pass some cars. So it was really fun. And congrats to Jamie and Brandon.
Yeah, great run from them. Great run from yourself. Great run in terms of the point standing tonight. You get some bonus points for your performance in the heats, and then you back it up with a solid third place point finish. So how are you feeling points wise, leading the championship with 2 races to go?
Yeah, definitely. Points wise, I'm feeling like I got to get 2 more strong finishes at Eldora and Charlotte. So, looking forward to it, and just hope I could finish off the season strong. And I'm excited for it.
Well, we'll get you out of here on this one, buddy. Who do you want to thank for this drive? Because you once again put on a masterclass in how to points race properly and get yourself a great finish when not necessarily everything's going exactly your way, either before or out in front of you or in your mirror.
Yeah, definitely. I want to thank all my friends, family, and sponsor, and everybody that puts this deal on. It's really cool to be a part of this in the winter, and it's really fun racing with these guys. And I just want to thank everybody that puts it on. You guys, it's a great broadcast, and Matt and Beef, and we're looking forward to next week.
There he is. Cody Higbee brings it home third, extends his point lead, and does everything he needs to do to make sure that 97 stayed clean and green and ends up on a podium position.
And that makes it such a good top 3. What a podium. That's a great group of class drivers, and they did a great job tonight of getting themselves into the picture. I think, Jamie, Brandon, they were both there the whole way through it. Higbee had some ups and downs. I mean, he had to be a little bit persistent with that race car tonight because it didn't seem like, at least in the middle stage of this race, it seemed kind of like that we might see him fade. Didn't quite do that, though, and good for him.
Yeah, it was impressive stuff. It was really impressive stuff from all 3 of these drivers. I mean, like I said, there was a couple times, Joe, where I thought Cody Higbee was in trouble. I thought he was going to find himself in trouble the way his championship rival Ryan Beagle did throughout the night, but instead he keeps it clean green, gets to the top 3, and class of a strong field here.
Absolutely. We're trying to get him. We'll bring you your results here, unofficial results from the race we just ran through Knoxville, the second of our 2 visits to this track throughout the season. Jamie Porter, your race winner finally this season, we can say that, over Brandon Plank, who's got himself another great solid second place run. Cody Higbee, those are championship points he needed in third place, so good on him. And Dean Reynolds with a great performance as well. Fourth place ends it out for him. Gavin Isley was gifted a few spots at the end of this race. He will get a top 5 out of the show. And Ryan Beagle, yes, it's okay. Sixth place is I think 6 points off of Higbee that he just lost on that gap, but could have been worse. Matt DeRitter could have gotten a top 5 out of tonight, but some contact with Reynolds on the run to the line at the end of this one brought him in at 7th, luckily. And then Alan Slight finishes 8th. Double D Dylan Davidson with a top 10 in 9th place. And Jeff Sharp, he's always seems to be good for a top 10 these days, will round out that top 10. And not too shabby for him. Or the rest of the field here, Jonathan?
No, not at all. Tyler Pachalski brings it home 11th. Dean Meitzler 12th. Pat Reiser 13th. The Teach. Then it's the 14th place runner of Travis Cunningham. Travis Miller ends up 15th after being involved in a couple cautions tonight. Adam Hilton, Ryan Susi, Corby Daniels all found themselves as victims of cautions here tonight from Knoxville. But Jamie Porter with what a great battle. We have really had some fantastic racing to kind of cap off the year. And, obviously we still have 2 races to go in this series, Joe, but last week at Fairbury, what we had here this week, it's been fantastic what we've seen from this series and all the drivers putting on great shows.
Yeah, it's been a great way through the whole eternity of this season that they've had some really great runs here and there, and things have just kind of shaped up. I'm really glad with the way tonight went. I was kind of questioning what we were going to see. Are we going to see a night where we have a lot of accidents, or are we going to see a night where everybody keeps themselves together? Last week was pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. I was surprised at the run that we had at Fairbury. Everybody did a pretty solid job of minimizing the crashes and avoiding the collisions, and more of the same this week. Very happy to see it, so I'm glad to be back. We've only got 2 more races, though, Jonathan, so hopefully we can keep that momentum up for Eldora and Charlotte to round out the season.
Yeah, definitely. It was good stuff, great racing, and we kind of had a mix of both, We got cautions. We had a rash of them right there in the middle of the race. We also ran the first 28 laps or so clean and green to start this thing. We got it all tonight, Joe, including an absolutely fantastic finish, and I just can't wait to see how this championship this season caps off at these final 2 events at Eldora and Charlotte.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be there as well, alongside my good pal Jonathan. It feels good. I'm getting that kind of bittersweet, longing feeling in my gut, and we've still got 2 weeks left.
Don't want it to end, do you?
No, I don't. I'm good to keep this going for a while, but we know we don't want to keep everybody here all night. I could blabber on about how great it is to be here, but especially with everybody who gets to watch along every week, from everybody over at Merrittville up north of the border, down here with me up in New York, my dad, everybody supporting our drivers and ourselves. It's just a really great program that we have together. We've put a lot of hard work into it, and we really appreciate everybody who comes along with us as we try to amp it up every week, make it better, and make what we can of iRacing's system and the BRP iRacing series. So on behalf of all of our partners here at the BRP iRacing series, Jam Performance, Creative Turning, Super Dirt Car Series, MDR Designs, Southern Ontario Dirt Show, Dig Race Products, 47 Technology, we are BRPtv, Jonathan Howe beside me. I'm Joe Donahue. Next time we come out, 1 week from now, we'll be in Eldora in Ohio, the Buckeye State, for the penultimate round of the championship. Thank you so much for being here week in, week out with us. And until we see you there, stay safe, live it up, live like Larry, and have some fun. We're going to the house that Earl built in 1 week's time. Take it easy, everybody.